Um, Before we begin today, I just want to take a moment and thank you. Truly, thank you for showing up here again and again, for sitting with me in this space, for trusting your intuition enough to click on a video like this, and for every single comment you leave. I read them, all of them. Your stories, your questions, your little updates when something I said actually happened in your life, they mean more to me than you probably realize. And if you are new here, welcome. I'm so glad you found this channel exactly when you needed it. That's not an accident. You'll understand that more as we go. Okay, Virgo, take a breath with me because what I'm sensing around you right now is not small. There is someone, and I mean someone specific, someone whose energy has been sitting quietly in your orbit, who really deeply wants to talk to you. Not small talk, not surface conversation. I'm talking about the kind of conversation that has been building up inside them for a while now. Words that have been forming, dissolving, and forming again in their mind because they haven't quite found the courage or maybe the right moment to say them out loud. And Virgo, you've felt this, haven't you? That strange pull, that sense that something is coming, even if you can't explain why. Maybe you've noticed their energy shift around you. Maybe you've had a dream about them. Maybe their name just keeps appearing in your thoughts, in small synchronicities you almost brushed off. That's not your imagination. Does this resonate with what you've been feeling lately? Let me know if it does, because I have a feeling a lot of you reading this right now are nodding without even realizing it. Let's slow down here for a second, because I want you to really understand what this energy is showing me. Virgo, you are someone who processes the world through logic, through detail, through careful observation. You don't just feel things, you analyze them. You turn them over in your mind, looking for the pattern, the reason, the practical explanation. And that's a gift. It always has been. But it can also be exhausting, especially when your heart is trying to tell you something your mind hasn't caught up to yet. And that's exactly where you are right now. Your heart already knows something your mind is still trying to rationalize. There is a shift happening in your personal relationships, in the way people are relating to you, and specifically in the way this one person has been relating to you. I'm seeing an energy of hesitation on their side, not because they don't care, but because they care too much to get it wrong. They've been choosing their words, literally choosing them, weighing them, wondering if this is the moment or if they should wait a little longer. And I want to be honest with you here because that's what this space is for. The words they are preparing to say to you are not casual ones. I'm sensing something along the lines of, I need to tell you something I've been holding back. Or, I don't think I can keep pretending this doesn't matter to me. Maybe even something closer to, I've been thinking about you more than I probably should. Now, I want you to sit with that for a second. Not to obsess over the exact phrasing, because the universe doesn't work in scripts, it works in energy and intention, but to feel into the emotional weight behind what's coming. Because what matters here isn't the exact words themselves, it's the truth underneath them. Someone in your life has been carrying an emotional weight around you, and they are close, closer than you might think, to setting that weight down in front of you. Have you noticed this shift in someone around you lately? A change in how they look at you, how they respond to your messages, how present they suddenly seem when you're in the room? Tell me in the comments because I want to know how accurate this feels for you. Now, Virgo, let's go a little deeper because this reading isn't just about them, it's about you. You have spent a long time being the one who holds things together, the one who thinks it through, the one who protects herself or himself from being blindsided by emotion. You've learned, maybe the hard way, that being careful keeps you safe. But I want you to notice something. That same carefulness, that same guardedness has also kept certain truths from reaching you fully. Not because you're closed off in a cold way, but because you've built a very intelligent, very reasonable filter around your heart. A filter that says, don't get ahead of yourself. Don't assume, don't hope for something that might not come. And Virgo, that filter has protected you in the past. But right now, it's also standing slightly in the way of you receiving what's coming toward you. Because this person, whoever they are for you right now, isn't going to fit neatly into a category you've already decided on. They're not going to say exactly what you expect in exactly the way you expect it, and that might unsettle your analytical mind a little. That's okay. You don't have to have it all figured out before it happens. You are allowed to let something unfold naturally without mapping out every possible outcome in advance. I know that might feel uncomfortable to hear, especially if you're someone who likes control, who likes clarity, who likes to know where things stand, but this is part of your growth right now. Learning to trust the unfolding instead of needing the full picture before you even begin. Let's talk energetically about who this might be. For some of you, this is someone who has been present in your life for a while. A familiar face, someone you've maybe even dismissed as just a friend or just someone I know because their presence has felt so steady that you stopped questioning it. But steady doesn't mean unimportant. Sometimes the quiet ones, the consistent ones, are holding the deepest things. For others, this could be someone newer, someone who entered your life somewhat unexpectedly and whose intentions you've been quietly trying to read. You've probably asked yourself more than once, what do they actually want from me? What is this energy between us? Is it real or am I imagining it? You are not imagining it. Whatever this connection is, it has weight, it has substance, and it's asking to be acknowledged, spoken, brought into the light instead of staying in the unspoken space where it's been living. I want you to think just for a moment about how it would feel to hear those honest words from them. Not the fantasy version, not the version where everything is perfect and resolved instantly. The real version where someone looks at you, maybe a little nervously, maybe with their voice slightly unsteady, and finally says the thing they've been holding in. How would that feel in your body? Would there be relief? Would there be validation? Would there be a small part of you that whispers, I knew it? Sit with that feeling for a moment because your body's reaction to that visualization tells you a lot about where your heart already stands, even if your mind hasn't caught up yet. Now, I do want to be honest with you about something else, Virgo, because this reading wouldn't be complete without it. Not every version of they want to talk to you is romantic in nature. For some of you, this energy is showing up in a different form. Maybe it's a family member who has been wanting to repair something between you. Maybe it's a friend who has needed to apologize or explain themselves or simply reconnect after distance. Maybe it's even a version of yourself, an inner voice that has been trying to get your attention. The universe doesn't limit itself to one narrow interpretation. So as you listen to this, let your intuition tell you who this is for. Trust the name or the face that came to your mind the moment I mentioned someone wanting to talk to you. That first instinct, that's usually the accurate one. Let me know in the comments who came to mind. I love reading these connections you all share. It helps me understand the collective energy moving through this community right now. Virgo, here's something important I want you to hold on to. You don't need to chase this. You don't need to force a conversation before it's ready to happen naturally. I know your instinct when you sense something building is to want to address it head on, to ask directly, to seek clarity, to eliminate the uncertainty as quickly as possible. That's very much your nature. You like resolution, you like knowing, but this is a moment that's asking for patience, not passive waiting, not anxious waiting, but grounded, secure patience. The kind where you continue living your life fully, continue growing, continue trusting yourself, while allowing this other person the space to arrive at their own readiness. Because forced timing rarely produces authentic words. And what's coming for you deserves to be authentic. I know waiting isn't always comfortable. I know your mind wants a timeline, a plan, an answer. But some of the most meaningful conversations in our lives arrive exactly when they're supposed to, not a moment before we're ready to truly hear them, and not a moment before the other person is ready to truly say them. Trust that this is unfolding in divine timing, even if your analytical mind resists that phrase a little. Now let's talk about you energetically in this moment, because I'm sensing that alongside this incoming conversation, you are also going through a personal recalibration, a kind of internal check in where you're reassessing what you actually want versus what you've settled for or accepted out of fear of disappointment. You are becoming more discerning, Virgo, not colder, not more guarded, more discerning. You are learning the difference between people who add to your life and people who simply occupy space in it. And this shift in awareness is exactly why this conversation is arriving now. Because you are finally in a place where you can receive it clearly without the noise of self doubt drowning it out. A year ago, maybe even a few months ago, you might have dismissed this kind of energy. You might have talked yourself out of it, convinced yourself it wasn't real or wasn't worth acknowledging. But you've grown since then. You've done inner work, even if it wasn't always visible from the outside. You've released old patterns of settling, of shrinking, of accepting less than what your heart actually longs for. And that growth is exactly why this is happening now and not before. The universe doesn't rush timing. It waits until you're ready to meet what's coming with clarity instead of confusion. Does that feel true for you? And has this past season of your life been more about internal shifting than external events? I'd really love to know, because I think so many of you have been doing quiet, powerful work that the world hasn't fully seen yet. Let's go a little further into what these exact words might carry energetically. Beyond the literal phrasing, what I'm sensing is an undertone of vulnerability. This person, whoever they are, is going to open up in a way that surprises you. Maybe they've always seemed composed, guarded, or hard to read. And this moment is going to reveal a softer, more honest side of them that you haven't fully seen before. That vulnerability is a gift. It means they trust you enough to be imperfect in front of you, to risk being misunderstood, to risk rejection, even, because the truth matters more to them than staying safe. That is not something to take lightly, Virgo. When someone chooses honesty over comfort, especially with you, it says something significant about how they see you as someone worth being real with. I also want to gently remind you your response matters here too. You don't need to have the perfect reply ready. You don't need to analyze every possible reaction in advance. When this moment comes, whether it's today in your own timeline or somewhere further down the road, let yourself respond from your heart first, before your mind takes over. You are allowed to feel moved. You are allowed to feel uncertain. You are allowed to take a little time to process instead of needing an immediate answer. This isn't a test you need to pass perfectly. It's simply a moment of truth being offered to you. Now, I want to shift into something equally important, the version of you on the other side of this conversation. Because whatever unfolds, whatever words are actually spoken, I see you walking away from this feeling more grounded, more certain of your own worth, more aware of what you actually want in your connections going forward. Even if this particular conversation doesn't lead exactly where your heart hopes it will still give you clarity. And clarity, Virgo, is something you value deeply, maybe even more than the outcome itself. You are not someone who thrives in uncertainty for long. You need to know where you stand. And this moment, this incoming conversation, is going to give you exactly that. Whether it confirms what you've been hoping for or gently redirects you towards something even more aligned. Either way, you win here because you are finally being met with honesty instead of ambiguity. And that in itself is a form of respect you deserve. I want you to take a moment now, close your eyes if you're somewhere you can, and just breathe. Feel into your own energy for a second. Notice that you are not the same person you were a year ago. You've softened in some ways and strengthened in others. You've let go of relationships that no longer served your growth, even when that letting go was painful. You've learned to trust your intuition, even when logic couldn't fully explain what you were sensing. And that intuition is exactly what led you here to this reading in this moment. Trust it. Trust that whatever comes from this conversation, you are prepared for it. Not because you've planned every detail, but because you've grown into someone capable of receiving truth with grace, whether it's the truth you hoped for or a different truth that redirects you towards something better suited for your path. Virgo, someone is preparing to be honest with you. Let that honesty be received the way it's meant to be, not with fear, not with over-analysis, but with an open, grounded heart. You've waited long enough for real conversations, real honesty, real connection, instead of guessing games and unclear signals. This is a step toward that. Maybe not the final step, but a meaningful one. Before we close today, I want to ask you something. If this reading resonated with you, if you felt that quiet recognition somewhere in your chest while listening, let me know in the comments. Tell me what part spoke to you the most. Your reflections help shape this space, and honestly, reading them is one of my favorite parts of doing this work. And if you know someone else who might need to hear this today, a fellow Virgo or someone going through something similar, consider sharing this with them. Sometimes the smallest act of sharing something like this becomes exactly what someone else needed in that moment. As we close, I want you to carry this feeling with you. You are supported. You are seen, even in the moments you feel unseen. And the honesty you've been waiting for is closer than you think. Trust the process, trust your intuition, and trust that you are exactly where you need to be right now, even if the full picture hasn't revealed itself yet. Thank you for being here with me today. I'll see you in the next reading. Take care of yourself, and I mean that gently, sincerely, and completely.